You know what I
Thank
mean?
you.
Women have needs. Oh, you say thank you. Tell me, girl.
I'm
Tell me.
against it.
Gen Z, 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 Unfiltered.
Unfiltered. Unfiltered.
Milani Sanbonani, good day to the community of Makanda. This is Milani Sokutu, a host for the show Gen Z Unfiltered. And alongside, I have my hostess with
Nhlanhla Minhika.
Hey, and welcome to Gen Z Unfiltered, the show where we unpack how we do life now compared to how they were done back in the day. I'm your host, Yonela and Njamela, and every week we dive into the shifts, the glow-ups, and the culture shocks between the 90s and now. So whether you're a proud 90s baby or a product of TikTok era, let's talk about it.
Oh yeah, indeed. Let's delve into it. Guys, have you ever wondered how was the experience of the 90s and the Gen Zs growing up? Like, since there's a lot of noise surrounding the Gen Zs, since like they are born in this digital era, and the 90s like basically born in the dark. So what do you guys have to say about that?
Oh my gosh, I remember stories that I would get from my mom telling me that back in the day, they never used to watch TV. We are very spoiled, actually. Because back in the day, Utu Mama Yena, she used to play oh Poce. Oh, like Mapatile, Tina. All we know is TV and our phones, which is very much different from what today.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
I so wish I was born in that era. Like, guys, life have changed. Like dala bebaphila kamnandi,
Yes,
bebexoxola
yes.
story, and then you could imagine the whole story. And then now figure my TV, and then we are distant from my family,
Yes,
and we
so
were
true that.
closer they were closer to our grandmothers wabo at that time,
Yeah.
because they would sit, they had time for family time, and then all of that changed.
And honestly speaking, we know how we, like, when we us as the youth right now, we find
Yeah.
ourselves not wanting to be around people because we know that we want to watch the show, we want to
True.
be on our phones, we want to be on TikTok,
True.
Instagram, and we find ourselves not connecting with people because of
Yeah.
this.
True.
It is a problem, it is a challenge on our side, obviously, because back then there was more bonding and connecting with people.
Yes.
So
Yeah. So basically, it's like there are advantages and disadvantages. Yes, we may have like been, since like we are also the Gen Zs. We are born under this digital era whereby everything is simple, can be made easy with just a press on your phone or with just a voice, and then anything can just enable itself to do some work for you. But like, the disadvantage of that is that when it gets easy, it always leads to better consequences. Say, for example, since like we're exposed to social media, TikTok, Mixit, YouTube, and all that kind of stuff, all those kind of social medias, like, do you realize that there is a higher rate of the Gen Zs like committing suicide other than the 90s kids, because like we're exposed to so much opinions, negative opinions, and like cyberbullying and all that stuff. Like, considering the case of the girl who was participating in a TikTok challenge about the two parents colliding, and then her being born, and then she was like body shamed and all of that, and then she
Ooh, I've
ended
never
up
heard of
committing
that one.
suicide. It was recent. Now I'm not sure about the name though. It's a girl.
And I feel like most cases, like violations, human violations, were much better at that time, because, like, if you had no phone, it was okay.
Yes.
Nowadays,
Yes.
you have a phone, and then your life is like, you get you get bullied, bullyism after era phone, the technology, bullyism yavele yaba high. Cyberbullying,
Yes.
for instance, people kill themselves because of cyberbullying.
Yes.
And as much as we say the 90s and don't, I feel like technology iyazama ukubuyisa like what they did back then, like the storytelling, ama grandmother and don't, because there is Umam Sakile, for instance,
Yes,
like
yes, Mam
ugogo
Sakile.
ohlalayo, and then she tells stories, but then uyiveza nama visuals. I think they try with babuyisa lento, but hey, they're failing.
Yes.
Okay, I feel like that's more leaning towards the negative of, the difference. But also there's this thing, my mom used to tell me that love was so much fun back in the day, especially when there was no phones. You know how men would like sneak in, like for just to see Ntombi yakhe. Now it's easy, men just ask for your number, and they think it's just easy to get your number like that. Yeah, born along because back in the day, love was so authentic. People would, guys would do anything and everything just to see umuntu wakhe. Go Gusana, I just slide in your DM on TikTok or Instagram.
Simple as
I
that.
got you. Our next thing,
You're my
I'm
girlfriend.
blushing. Umuntu wam. Yo, like everything is just,
Yeah.
everything is
And also like
so different.
referring to that muntu wami situation is like back then abama 90s. About my 90s, like, used to have this 90-day rule. Like, comparing to now, the Gen Zs.
Oh,
After
That thing,
2 weeks,
after.
it's shy.
It's shy. I'm in love with you.
After the first
I'm in
date,
love.
After the first date, mna ndifuna ukuba lapha nawe. You know? Which is so, I don't want to say too much, but like, it's so different to back in the day. I find back in the day so romantic.
Yeah.
I find it so
I wish I
romantic.
could
I
go
would have
back,
done
guys.
I can do anything to go back to back then because imagine kufa uyabethwa ngutata wo mama because I want your daughter kind of situation. My mom told me that her boyfriend at the time literally got whooped by her dad because ebefuna ukumbona ebusuku about 3 a.m.
man.
It was the cutest thing ever. So it's like I that love was just the best love ever.
Yeah, it was giving the
True.
soil in Como. Ladies, comparing the growing up of the 90s and the Gen Zs, would you guys say there's a generational beef that's there? Because like going back to the topic that we just mentioned about the 90-day rule thingy. So the 90-day rule was a thingy of back in the 90s, but now in this time and era, the Gen Z era, the 90 days thing, it feels like a year for them. It feels like it's quite a lot for them. So like me personally, I support the 90-day rule. Because like you get to see the real intentions of a guy. Because like having guy acquaintances, friends, and like being close to my older brothers. My older brothers are like, they are the ones who make me think the way I think. But yeah, it's collab. So like they be talking about, okay, they be wanting this thing to smash and just pass, to smash and just pass. And the way like they degrade women, like they speak as if women are toys or just things to have fun with whenever they're bored and stuff like that. While it's like kind of different with women because I feel like women become a bit attached because it's something that's taken. There's something that the gen takes away from them, and the guy. Basically, you can't say you as a woman you're taking something from the guy. It's the guy that's taking something from you. So the 90-day rule is like I support it. So like make them wait. Make them wait. Don't like give it easily.
I would say I'm both. I'm in between. You know, I'm in between these two thoughts because I hear your point so much so because it has become a norm where women and men just have one-night stands and whatnot, and now we have lost that value of respecting ourselves and our bodies. So, but at the same time, I feel like women have needs. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Women have needs. Oh, you say thank you. Tell me, girl.
I'm
tell me
against
more.
the 90-day rule. Okay, not because, So, I support it because, like, you get a chance to see who you are getting yourself into. Because you can't be stuck with the person who's...
Okay, let's make it clear. Which side are you supporting? Are
the
you
90-day.
You're supporting...
I'm against
the 90-day
rule.
All right.
She's against the guy.
Yes, because I feel like you're wasting time, hey?
I get you. You mean as in like you want to find out what the person wants right there and there.
Yes.
And if they want the punani, they want the punani.
Yeah. From the get-go, just tell me what do you want from me so that I will know. Because people have different needs. I can't be stuck with you knowing that you want something else.
Okay.
I'm actually expecting something else from you, and then...
Okay. But what I'm getting, guys, is like, okay, a person can give you what you want and you can know a person without like getting in bed with them.
Exactly. I feel like you once you put yourself in the fact that okay, I want to do this right now. I want to give this person this right now so I can find out what their true intentions are. You are literally just letting them do as they please. Because if you stand your ground and place boundaries and say, okay, mina angifuni lokhu, mina ngifuna lokhu, then it'll work out that way. The guy will understand you and respect you. It's all about respect. If the guy respects you and realizes ukuthi wena ngeke uvume ukuthi nje
No, like if we bear obvious, it's gonna sound wrong. Like Mina, I feel like the first few weeks, 2 weeks actually, you're trying to discover the person.
Yes.
Because after that 2 weeks, you'll be stuck with this person.
How?
How are you stuck?
Like guys, you be in a relationship, not in a relationship as such, but uzostaka nomuntu ongafuna ukuba naye because he's different, or she or he is different. And then wena uzoyithola lento le after 90 days.
No, listen,
you're wasting my time. Like, tell me what you want from me from the start so that I'll know.
Okay, I get both sides, ne?
Yes.
I get both sides. I get Milani's side when she says that the 90-day rule applies. She believes in the 90-day rule because we want to get to know a person.
Yes.
We want to understand their true intentions and if they are genuine or not.
Yes.
Which is very accurate, which is very important. But also I get your point too, especially in this generation compared to back in the day. This generation, that's all we want.
Yes.
And I'm talking about girls and guys.
Yes.
You know, that's all we want. I mean, after the first date, we find ourselves already sleeping with a person, you know. So I guess it's all about intention and about your boundaries and what you want as a person. And if the 90-day rule works for you, then it works for you. If it doesn't, then it doesn't.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah.
Kaloku guys, masikhumbuleni another thing. Masikhumbuleni thina ama-Gen-Zs siyabuthanda ubumnandi guys.
Too much.
And like indlela esibuthanda ngayo is way different because like ubumnandi bu-different nakubo nge-1990s because like obaba ubumnandi they were kind of innocent like siyasela ubhiya. Yeah, siyasela ubhiya, siyahlalela isikhoxweni, we sing, we dance and then we go home. But manje ubumnandi bra like there's always violence like obethu ubumnandi funeka umuntu abe violent okanye umuntu uyophula ama-shots, umuntu uyogqabhuka emuntwini wakhe ecrushini yakhe ukuthi okay ufila kanje the intrusive thoughts like they come out. That's what
I think people use alcohol as a way you approach umuntu because I'll have a beef with Yonela and then I'll never approach him manje mangisoba and then ngifuna utshwala and ngifuna ubu-strong angifuna utshwala nje ngifuna utshwala ubu-strong and then I'll be like wena Yonela you did this and this and this why ungangilandanga usoba.
Yes.
And another problem I think is ama-90s anenkinga because we have fun in a different way. Like siyayibonisa. Like for instance, ekhaya akhona ama-groovist. Like older people, my aunt is a groovist. But bekafihla. She used to groove but ngendlela ifihlekile. And then there's us.
Hayi. Mele kwaziwe wonke umuntu nomkhulu wabo bonke bayazi ukuthi hayi kuyathina groove. So I feel like we do it too much.
Yes.
We do it too much, especially here at Rhodes. I can't lie. I feel like Rhodes is like the hotspot of groove. The hotspot of groove. Every weekend kuyagcwala 37 okanye mikasa guys. And okay, I understand that because back in the day it was more respectful, it was more classy. The way you know, the music that they would play would be more fun, vibrant compared
music,
to now.
guys.
Now it's just all about drinking. If you can't even go to groove without thinking, oh, fun and sell some alcohol.
Some ubi.
You know, you're not going there for the vibe anymore because back then they could go without drinking.
Yes.
Women would go to the club without drinking and just play music and, you know, just enjoy.
Yes.
But now it's just more of substance abuse and, you know, alcohol abuse.
And like touching on the music, like back then in the 1990s, like bekumanyalo ba Hugh Masekela, abo Brenda,
so good.
abo Michael Jackson,
So good.
like something music on my lyrics,
Music with lyrics, music with
that has
meaning.
Oh, go phone in Simelane Scott's maphuma. Shall you be a phezulu of it?
Like,
Shall we beat in Japan and it's a song, but like everyone knows about it.
Yes.
Like things have changed so much. Honestly speaking, I liked, you know, music back in the day, like when everything was more authentic, everything was like real, like things with lyrics with meaning. Manje mo bengile, it's all about music challenges on TikTok and
And anyone angayenza ingoma. For instance, nami ngabhala ingoma today and then release tomorrow.
And then you superstar. Superstar.
Izopopa lo ngoma leyo like.
And then after 2 weeks it's chai.
And that's a new thing. Like with the Gen Zs, like there's an upcoming artist every week. Every week there's an upcoming artist. But
I think at the same time that's very helpful, don't you think? Because now we get to people don't get to just sit around and not do anything. They get jobs. Here, that's one benefit we have as a Gen Z.
Yes,
because people are making money, even though it's money ezophela kwangoku. Imali ezophela kwangoku, but eventually we get to like not sit around and do nothing, you know.
But to add on that, ubenza imali like ingoma zamanje, like the too explicit.
Yes.
They just sing maybe sex and what so not. Like abasafihli like lezo
you're so right. You're
like
so
say
right.
wrong. Umuntu ufuna ukuba famous like uyabona ukuthi okay, it's sexy, it's trending, and then they're gonna make a song about sex.
Yes.
Speaking of that, it goes back to the topic of how women are more sexualized nowadays because umntu mayigqoke isiketi esifishane, you are like sexualized. You're like, why egqoke isiketi esimfishane? Back in the day, they used to wear long skirts. They used to cover up themselves, and that was seen as being respectful and okay.
You're keeping yourself
together. Nowadays, we are more expressive with what we wear. I would say that we express ourselves based on the jewelry. Whatever, and
the jewelry.
The jewelry. Yes, we wear the clothes we wear. We express ourselves so much, and back then, it was more of closed up. They were closed up. You know what I mean? So now, men see this new dynamic and take it as if, they are tempting us.
Yes,
we are being tempted by these women. You know that,
and like since like in the Gen Z era, people say like the way they dress sometimes to some is the way of expression, like they're expressing themselves. So my question was kind of like, no, not I'm saying I'm against people wearing certain stuff, short stuff, long stuff, or whatever. Every person has their specific style, which they fall under and they're comfortable with, and I'm not against any of that. But my question is like, since like the way you dress, to those who believe in that, like the way you dress is a form of expression. So like if you wear a mini dress and stomach out and all of that kind of stuff, what are you actually expressing?
I'm expressing myself as a woman. I'm expressing my beauty. I'm expressing my body. I'm proud in what I am. Because now the thing is, women hide their bodies, not like. They hide their bodies, they hide their cellulite, they hide their stretch marks because of feeling insecure. Because they were told that they need to cover it up. It was always the mentality that men brought upon women, and that we have to cover our bodies up. You know, that was the thing back in the day. But now, I feel like we're more expressive about that. I can't lie and say, whenever I see a woman with like shorts on and I see that they have stretch marks or cellulite, I am so proud. Yes. I am so happy because she's expressing herself, and I see myself in her.
Yes.
In as much as she's the one dressed that way, I see myself in her, and that she's confident enough. Why am I not that confident in just expressing myself in the way that I dress? I love that.
Okay. I think what Yonela is saying, ibiyela kulento yama stereotypes back then, ukuthi women are supposed to do this, men are supposed to do this. Abo mama, they're not supposed to ukuveza amadolo wabo because badelela abo baba and stuff. And then now there's a shift. We can do whatever with our bodies because siyakwazi ukusebenzela. Back then bongakwazi ukugqoka lento ifuna because ubaba uzothini angeke azangishade. Angeke ngiphume endlini ngizoba ngathi angisumfazi enough.
But if you think about it, men back in the day would have a wife, and then they would like, you know, tell that wife uthi gqoka, fihla, whatnot. Next thing, they're going out, they're finding what? People, daddies. So either way, it's just that now we more open about it. We don't care about it.
Yeah.
Back then, it was a thing. It was we're hiding it. We're hiding the fact that, we want baddies, basically.
Yes.
But at the same time, baddies azopeka.
Exactly.
Baddies azukina.
Bafuna allowance lapho.
So why don't you just get the best of both worlds and just for many housewives, for many baddie?
And ubani othi umuntu the way going akhona kusho ukuthi akazi-respect. I could be wearing i-bum shorts and I respect myself. Like
Exactly.
It's your mind. It's a person's mind. It's a person's mind, for real. So like touching on these issues and challenges, we could say Uguti, we touched on the misconceptions and like what adds up to the like this kind of small beef between the 90s and the Gen Zs. So basically these misconceptions can be like can touch on topics like we're lazy, we see spoiled bread, we don't want to work hard because of like how soft we've grown, like everything is right there, is literally right there. Like even now they'll be talking about abantu bange 90s talking about mina ngeke siye esikolweni ngenyawo. That time isikole the distance is very long. Hey, like Tina, we're having it easy. You can Uber. You have a school transport. There's vehicles like available
but it's
for you.
evolution, guys.
Yes.
We're evolving. Things are evolving. Things are changing.
Yes.
And things are getting easier. If things weren't difficult for them back in the day, obviously it's there.
It's there, yes.
But Tina, we're evolving. Things are evolving.
Like, we were lucky to be born in this digital era. Like we could just put it like that.
Yeah.
It's not our fault that we're born into this like technological era. So like guys, the misconception should not like fuel into the like the imaginary beef, because like I don't feel like there should be a beef, because like we've grown, like the backgrounds are different, like you guys.
I feel like once parents who are obviously born in the 90s understand that things have changed from back in the day and now, they can understand where we are coming from when we do certain things, like let's say sleeping until 12, let's say not waking up and cleaning. Things were more easier for us because we get to vacuum. Bro. They don't vacuum, but cupheads. It was most difficult for them to do it. So it's a matter of understanding that things have evolved, things have changed, and they have to accept that.
Yes. And it's really not our fault to bona bakhulele kwindawo engena technology. And then how it's really difficult to ungaphila the way bona baphile ngakhona now, because for instance we really need our cell phones. Uzothi uphethwe flu and then bathi hayi ile cell phone. Uthi hayi mama ngiyagula athi no ile cell phone. Singabi na cell phone. Ile cell phone. Hayibo.
And as we were talking about earlier on about how we are more connected to our phone than we are connected to people. So I would say that we are the loneliest, generation compared to back in the day. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I fully support that. Like, because back in the days, people didn't have like network technology and phones like that. Maybe not dilili, whereby a phone where you can just call. Utilili back in the 90s. My grandmother has utilili.
Listen,
I do have utilili.
Back in the day, they had this phone that everyone had to use.
If
someone answers that phone, a person from this house and whatnot, that person will run to whatever house and say, a phone in. That person will have to go to wherever the phones are. Back in the day, there was no phones, literally. So it was even worse. So that way, you had to connect with people you don't even know.
Yeah,
compared to now. Now we're connecting with people one way. No, not connecting with people per se, but like we most of the time we are on our phones.
Yes,
as I said earlier.
Yes, and like back in the day, like a form of entertainment was for you to actually go outside and interact with people. Yeah. That was the only way you could like entertain yourself and like get to socialize with people. Just go out of your house and then go sit with specific people or the people you see outside.
Get to know people.
Because now in our days, people are like are so isolated to one another. Like when you actually be that person in the Gen Z era, like who's willing to go out and engage with people, like people of our generation, they'd be like looking at you as if you're some kind of person who's seeking attention, like who's so lonely, who's like, you're disturbing other people's peace. Like, why are you not on your phone? Why are you talking to me? Can't you see I'm busy on my phone? And stuff like that. So like communication just doesn't flow.
Personally, I'm taking this from a more personal perspective, but sometimes I just want to isolate myself. I want to be in my room by myself and don't be around people. And if you think about that, that is lonely on its own.
Yes,
you know, because you end up isolating yourself to the point where you don't have any friends. You don't have people to rely on when you need help.
Yes.
You know, you don't get people to tell you or advise you when it comes to things around the world because you have been isolating yourself.
Yes.
And I know that it's wrong, but for some reason we still continue to do it as Gen Z. We still carry on doing it, and it's very lonely, honestly speaking. So
I personally think like loneliness and isolation comes from a fakeness in this generation.
Let's
accept
well,
it.
okay, not you
People
touching
are
on
fake.
something else. Stay down.
People are fake because ngizohlala no Yonela namhlanje, and then the next thing uhleli no Nosipho, they are talking about me.
Yes.
And
True
every
that.
move engiyenza maybe ngithole boyfriend entsha, they'll be like, oh no, uyambona ukuthi unjani.
Ingakho-ke kumele si-isolate-ke
Yes,
because
yes.
tell me why I'm being the talk of the tongue. Why are people talking about me? You know? But like back in the day, that wasn't a thing. That's what I mean. It wasn't a thing where but everyone knew everyone's business. I feel like abantu abehle mama abadala.
Yes, they are.
Phela. Otherwise, kids didn't do that. Kids were so united, and kids were so innocent until the whole of maybe their teenage lives. If I tell you, I'm sorry, I keep on bringing up my mom, but I've learned a lot of stories from my mom, and she told me that she didn't know anything about losing virginity until she was 16 years old.
Wow.
She didn't know anything about sex until she was 16 years old. Imagine that. And she was only able to find that out because of communicating with her friends about it. She's like, okay, this is what I heard from my mom with her dad.
Yes.
And she would go to her friends and be like, what is this, guys? Yabolondo. It shows how innocent they were back in the day.
Yes.
Go sana, no ana. By the age of 13, we already know what's going down.
The deed is going.
I think it's the way abantu abenza ngakhona izinto, because I also resonate from lento umamako I go through yona, because mina I grew up not knowing ukuthi like I have private parts and stuff. So I feel like dala like lento ukuthi basifihlele ukuthi there are certain topics like okungamelanga abantwana bawazi. It saved us. It saved us because nibe mdala, and then ezinye izinto and bengakwazi uquestion izinto awunamanga manje you question if ubona umama yenza so mama wayenza so. That's why, like, sorry to mention this, but each generation yethu iyafa, guys.
Oh, period.
Because as respect izinto bezenzwa kudala. Dala bazothi ungabonisi abafana maybe ama-pets or in. They're trying to save us. Ikhona into like a African.
Okay, I gotta disagree with that. I feel like guys need to be aware of the fact that we have periods.
Like,
let's start there. They have to be aware because guys feel so disgusted of girls and they don't understand. Yes, which is so normal because this is how we give birth. This is how we make children. So it is so unfair that guys don't know that we go through this process of having periods and, you know, like having period pains and all of that. They just take it so lightly. So it's fine. Let's make it a norm. Let guys know about the fact that we go through periods. It's fine.
Point ukuthi like we have access to information okungamelanga sibe nayo.
Kanjani?
Like, let's say umntwana will be having more information about sex awumntwana. Like ukuthi njengam private part bengazi ukuthi kunama private parts, but manje kunama subjects ku LOs ne LO dala mama mutha kayenza nge LO kune LO whereby baya expose khona ama contraceptives khona yonke into, and kids get to know about this. Mina ngifila ngathi personally baye bathuma abantwana. Ngiya understand ukuthi like bafuna ukubasave in baye bathuma ukuthi guys go ahead, do this. That's my opinion.
My opinion is that it's more of creating awareness because let's talk about teenage pregnancies.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, I would think that people will fall pregnant, like kids will fall pregnant without knowing what happened. Mama did not know what it is to have intercourse, what is it to be intimate. But nowadays we know it, so we know that maybe we should not do it. We know it's wrong, so therefore we sing ayenzi. But back in the day, and it was a shame.
Yes.
So I feel like it's better to create awareness about this whole situation. Okay, this is my body. This is what happens when I grow up, when I grow older. I become a woman, and if I do this with a guy, if I become intimate with a guy, then pregnancy might happen. This is the risk of being with a guy, But back in the day, it was just all fun and games. So it's okay. And stuff like that. So it was fun and innocent. But hence HIV came about. Okay, and now I'm touching something else. Hence HIV came about because they didn't know what they were doing. So we do need knowledge of all of this.
So do you think the knowledge abanayo manje, is it helping? Because back then, maybe lack of knowledge, lack of information. But looking at the increased percentage of teenage pregnancy, goodness, the information by misuser.
Yes.
Because they know it's okay, I have a vagina, I can do this, I can do this. They don't even use the condoms.
Yes.
Do they?
No.
They don't.
No.
Calm down, my love.
What my share is like, in everything that we do, it's like studying in business, studying business in matric or something in high school. So like in everything that we do, there's always an advantage and a disadvantage. It's never like 100% positive outcome. There are always negative outcomes also on the side, if I can put it like that. Because think of it like, I do understand both sides. Like when you say because back then the 90s had lack of knowledge of all these situations and experiences, like it was more likely for them to keep themselves intact, other than like this Gen Z generation whereby everything is exposed and everyone is learning about sexual intercourse and stuff like that. So like I do understand in that part, because like if you don't know something, then you are most likely not do it because you don't know about it. And then another thing is like you're gonna be like back then, like touching on, if you were to touch on certain topics such as sex, stuff like that back in the 90s, a parent would be like shocked, like uyazela plendo and stuff like that. Like they would shush away from the topic, and about, which means like it gives the child okay, this thing is not right. This thing I shouldn't do this thing, yabo. Like, but now since like we're being taught about this stuff, like it gives it's some the Gen Z generation takes it as if like, okay, we're allowed to do these things. Like they allow us, but they give us restrictions on how to do it. They're telling us how to do it, like how to safely do it. So they're not like saying don't do it. They're just saying, okay, if you're doing it, yenze kanje. Yabo. Basically, that's what they're telling you. But like, I do understand, like, it creates awareness, because like, even if you say to a child, don't do it, if they want to, they will, because they experiment, they see stuff, and like, peer pressure is also a factor. So like, yes, it helps so that if, okay, they decide, because you can't be with your child everywhere. You can't see whatever they're doing, what they're thinking. So if ever they get exposed in skoleni, friends, the community or stuff like that, or even on the internet, since like we're this internet generation, so like if they're exposed to those things without your knowledge, at least you know, okay, okay, I'm exposed now and I'm like intrigued to do this, but I have to do it like this so that it doesn't get over or like,
out of hand.
Yes, so that it doesn't like pregnancy. Yes, like leads to teenage pregnancy, HIV and stuff like that. So both sides I do understand, but like I feel like personally, if we didn't know, we wouldn't do it. But like eventually people, because not everyone is not gonna know. Some people will know and they will like tell upon to those who don't know, and then those who don't know will be like curious because they want to see, they want to feel, they want to know what's actually happening there. So,
and to add on what I said, like it's so hard ukuthi avoid lezi zinto, because you could tell a 7-year-old ukuthi don't watch this and this. I go internet because on a phone I search and I told. So mina umama mke wangishaya just because ngithe mama bayajola. Ubayajola ungibuza ukuthi ngimazelaphi. Like ngisasemncane angivuthuza. So back then like lezi zinto bebas avoid ngokuthi babe nama stories, like bayenza ama story. For instance umama mbekathi makabona abafana beba bakhuze ngabafana bathi abafana they are lions, so they would never ever go near abafana. So that's the only way bebakwazi ngakhona ukuthi bangadlaleli kude. And then esinye story bekuwukuthi if uthinta umfana uzoba ne-HIV, which is not true.
Bebasabisa.
Yes, bebasabisa. And lezo zinto besaba nathi ukuthi yo HIV ngizothinta umfana HIV and then I die. And then it's no, I'll stay away from boys.
But then the thing is, abantwana bamanje basmart.
Very
smart. Abantwana bamanje, they just go to the internet and they search these things. But they don't need parents to tell them okay, what is what and what is not. So it's a matter of how you raise your own child at this point. If your mom raises you a certain way and you just follow that, I guess.
Yeah. And like having touched on the differences between the Gen Z and the 90s generation, like I believe that we gave an insight to the audience and to our listeners on how the different generations have different mindsets when it comes to specific topics and themes. So basically I feel like we've collected and highlighted all the common and main misconceptions and challenges that these two generations face and how they think of these challenges. And also everything has an advantage and a disadvantage.
I think
like not every decision is like guaranteed 100% success, but trying and also looking at the positive side is like the best solution. And also like we should also acknowledge differences, acknowledge different thoughts, opinions and mindsets, because like vele we grew up differently. Like izinto zichinjile and sisezawutshintsha, like sinama 2020 something manje abo, like nathi asizo understand indlela abakhule ngayo, because nathi in the early 2000s we were like doing things differently from the people who are doing things who are born now. So thank you guys. Thank you to everyone who was listening. Thank you to our audience, our viewers. So we can catch you guys, or you can catch us again next week, same time, same place, here on Gen Z Unfiltered. Thank you.
Gen Z flow, unfiltered vibe where the real ones go. We spill the tea, let the truth unfold. No cap, no filter, stories bold. Laugh, cry, think we do it loud. Gen Z Unfiltered, we lit, we proud.